maybe Cloudflare then.
Oh yeah.
And the reason is that it's one of the most innovating companies of our time. They started out with a CDN, and CDN is Content Delivery Network, and that's actually quite a commodity. If you look at Akamai, which is the biggest player in that field, it grows by high single digits, something like that, 8-9% or so. But Cloudflare has taken content delivery to a whole new level in that sense that they started working on edge computing actually, and they already released their first product in 2018 as actually the first one with with that capacity. They are really working from the ground up. It's a typical innovator in that sense that a lot of other companies are seen as better quality or bigger or and Cloudflare was the smaller one, or is still the smaller one if you compare it to Akamai or Amazon and Microsoft, who are also in the content delivery network. But what Cloudflare has done is that it has a very lean and flexible structure in its POPs, so points of presence. And you have to see that those are data center close to you. And that means that if, the Internet of Things is coming, and if you have, or for example, autonomous cars, let's take that example. You need a constant connection to the Internet for autonomous cars, but it also has to go fast. Yeah, and that's where the edge comes in. So the edge is a data center close to you. Now, what Cloudflare is building on is that it's that those data don't have to go to the core cloud. So it doesn't have to go to AWS, to Azure, Google Cloud, or whatever, and they can run programs on that edge, on that data center which is close to you.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at projections, there are estimates that in 7-8 years, maybe, and I always take those with a grain of salt. I always think that projections are correct, but not the years. So let's say maybe in 10 years or so, about 70% of the data will never go to the core cloud, will never go to AWS or Azure or whatever. They will stay on the edge, and they will be computed there. And so why? So there are only, in my view, there are only two players who are destined to be the leaders there, and that's Fastly and Cloudflare. What Cloudflare has above Fastly is that it was earlier in 2018 already, while Compute at Edge, Fastly's product, has only been released now, well, a few months ago, but not to the full public yet. So it's, it had been in beta for a year or something like that. And what you see is that Cloudflare constantly makes small improvements, which developers love because they give them new possibilities, and those improvements really stack up. And last year, Cloudflare had introduced or has introduced more than 550 new products and new services. And Matthew Prince, the CEO of Cloudflare, said, well, this year we're going to try to accelerate that. Wow. I mean, 550 new.
I think, Chris, the founders of Cloudflare are very hugely driven people. I mean, I read them, I follow them on Twitter, I read about them. I think they're a different breed. I think their DNA is very, very different.
Yeah, it's I love their mission statements: to make the internet better. Wow. And that's also something, one of the the key elements that I always see coming back in the greatest companies. Amazon. We want to be the most centric company in the world. Those big goals, which are essentially almost unachievable, if they live up to that, then you have a huge winner. And I think, I think Cloudflare could be such a huge winner. I mean, it has gone up already quite a bit since we picked it as a potential multi-bagger, but it still has. It's a 25 billion company, somewhere around that. Could I still see it go 10x and be a 250 billion company in 2031? Oh yes, definitely, and maybe higher as well. Because I just for the record, I don't think that the data of AWS, of Azure, will go down. Those 30% that I talked about that will stay, that will go to the core cloud, will be bigger than the 100% that goes to the core cloud now, because we will generate so much more data. Those things always come slower than people think. They always think that something new comes with a bang, but it doesn't. It's slow incremental changes.
And when you develop, then
I have a Fitbit, and maybe you have a wearable as well, and you even 5 years ago nobody had that, or almost nobody, and that's the change that people don't see, because it's so natural and it's such a small step at a time. But the Internet of Things will become huge, let's say in the next 10 years. And there will be so much data from that. It will be everywhere, not just in consumables and wearables. It will be the medical Internet of Things as well. It will be for agriculture. It will be in industry. In even the oldest industries that we have, steel and those kind of things. Everything will be measured and to optimize the process and to gain dollars and to gain efficiency. And
addressable market is huge.
It is huge,
and
yes.
It will expand.
And it will continue to expand. And that's also one of the things I like about Cloudflare. Cloudflare says at this moment our total addressable market is, I think it's 50 billion. But we don't count the Internet of Things because we cannot know. So and that's for people who sometimes think I was like that a long time ago. So I always add that now. A total addressable market is yearly. That's very important to know. So that's each year.
That's where DCF will go wrong. Discounted cash flow.
Yeah, well, that's one of the problems as well. How do you factor in that they will bring more than 550 new products and services in the next year? And again, if you look at what Cloudflare projected for 2020, they projected 36% growth. It was 50%, and that has been each and every quarter. They have grown by 50%, whatever the projections were. So, and I think that will continue as well. They have now projected something similar, at 36% growth or so. I think it will be very close to 50% again. And that's again the same theme, beating and beating and beating. And those beatings again together all add up.